I've got something special for you today. If you're like me, you absolutely love Lizzo. If you're like me, you love that Lizzo stands for body confidence and self love, that she shines like a superstar and unapologetically takes a stand simply by being herself. She sings to what makes her and her listeners feel so special along their self love journeys. Well, today, I want to explore Lizzo as written in the stars to get to the heart of her creative juice. And then I want to connect the dots for you so that you can dig into your own creative process and tap into your own juice. Welcome to Star Powered Astrology for Changemakers. I'm Leslie Tagorda, your guide, a Hawaii born Filipino Jewish astrologer who loves navigating visionaries like you through the spiritual journey of your work so that you can be inspired to lead by your chart and become the luminary leader you were born to be. All right, friends, welcome. So today I have a special episode, and it is a replay from the Lizzo Masterclass, It's About Damn Time, that I held on solstice on Wednesday, June 21st. During this masterclass, it was so beautiful and fun to open up Lizzo's natal chart and point to all of the pieces that make her just an incredible superstar, but then also dig into her creative process and how her creative process comes alive, especially in kind of taking apart her recent reality show on Amazon called Watch Out for the Big Girls, where she is on the search for her latest and greatest backup dancers. So it's really fun. We had a great time. And this was new content for me to share and teach about. So I hope that you really get a lot of juice out of your own creative process by connecting the dots to what we were looking at in Lizzo's chart. Now, if this really sings to you, I would love to invite you to our quarter 3 session of Star Powered Circle. I open up the doors every quarter, and so it's that time. It is solstice, and so from now until June 30th, Star Powered Circle is open for new people, new folks who want to explore your astrology, your inner awakening, your leadership, learn some astrology, or simply get access to one-on-one readings with me. So head on over to starpowered.com/circle and apply now to join in. We start on July 1st all the way through September. And in September, we will be exploring in depth with a 4-week live training called Star Powered Style, where we'll be tuning in to the astrological keys in your natal chart that you need to amplify to make your mark with your visual identity and your creative process. It's going to be so amazing. I know there's been so many of us waiting for me to announce Star Powered Style, the third part of my entire Astrobrand method. So come in, starpowered.com/circle, and join us today. All right. Well, welcome to today's masterclass. Now, I just want to let you know this is like the first time I'm offering this masterclass. So I don't expect it to be like, please do not expect it to be perfect. There will be like bumps and ups and downs in the road, but I'm here to lead by example and like showing up absolutely imperfectly doing what I love. And I absolutely love Lizzo. It is the solstice, no matter where we live on this earth. And it's about damn time you owned your star power. So today I'm going to be doing a case study of Lizzo's natal chart from the way that I look at astrology, what I call the Astrobrand method, this kind of combination of our leadership, our identity, and our inner healing as it shows up in our work, right? Anybody here who owns their own business? I'd love to know who considers themselves a change maker, an entrepreneur, a leader. Yes, I love it. Michelle, Samantha. All right. I love it. And so, you know, you are a leader if you have a certain way of doing things, if you are nonconformist, if you work in an organization trying to make change from the inside out, or you own or run your own business, you are a leader. And so today, I want you to know how much Lizzo means to me, her work, her artistry, what she stands for, and her creative process. I feel that if I had a role model like her when I was growing up, I would have found my confidence and my self love so much sooner. She's such a beautiful example of how we can turn our wounds into our greatest gifts, our challenges into the fuel that drives us, and how we can liberate our souls so that we too can shine brightly. So today we'll be going over some solstice, a little reflection on self acceptance, because we can't get to the confidence and that self love that Lizzo exudes until we come from that Cancerian place of self acceptance and self validation. Then we're going to be taking a look at Lizzo's chart and how she has come through to her own self love journey as I see it in her natal chart. Then this is where we're going to start to connect the dots to your own creative juice. I'll be offering an exercise, and at the end, you'll get a downloaded worksheet, like with the replay. You'll get a little worksheet so that you can kind of put together the pieces in your own natal chart and connect the dots to your own creative process and creative juice. And lastly, I just want to let you know upfront that at the very end, I'll be inviting you to my Star Powered Circle. It's my community of over 50 people. And in quarter 3, we'll be really focusing in on our star powered styles. So everything that we're learning today, I'm teaching in my course, but we'll be diving more deeply. So if this work calls to you, we'll have that invitation at the end. So just wanted to put that out there for y'all. I want you to feel so confident about your own creative juice so that you can tune into bringing your own creative juice from the unconscious to conscious, because your creative juice is already in you. You're likely doing it every day and not noticing the little fine points that I want you to tune into. Now, I want you to tune into this because when you tune and bring into awareness and consciousness your own creative process, this is going to allow you to turn to it when you feel stuck and you need your next step. It's already in you, and it's totally unique for each one of us. And then also, I want you to feel so confident in your own creative juice so you can amplify it and crystallize what makes you so special. To me, that's what confidence is. And when we have all of these put together, this will allow you to feel good as hell and attract all that is yours. Of course, you know, Good as Hell is one of Lizzo's songs. Juice is one of Lizzo's songs. And when Lizzo says good as hell, of course, it's just a figure of speech that just means I feel amazing, I feel hot, I feel just this vibrant joy that is emanating through me. So most of y'all know who I am, but I'm going to say anyway, in case there's new people here, that this is the first time I'm meeting you all. But my name is Leslie Tagorda, and now I call myself a brand astrologer, but I'm a podcast host, I'm an author, of course, I'm an astrologer, and I am a brand designer as well as a Lizzo lover. I've been basically an entrepreneur since the very beginning. I've never been able to work for other people very well. And I've struggled in business, my very first business, since 2004. Struggle, bus. But it wasn't until 2018 where I started bringing in astrology that I felt that I really opened up to my true identity and my true process. Now, why is identity so important? Well, for somebody like me, I'm a Hawaiian born Filipino Jew, third career astrologer, coming from a first career of classical music, which is essentially institutionalized oppression, a second career as a web designer, and then a brand designer, and then now an astrologer, seeing astrology in this way that healed my own personal identity and how I present myself in my change making work. Now, my journey is rooted from this exploring this identity crisis because all I ever heard was that I wasn't enough. Right? I wasn't Hawaiian enough. I wasn't white enough. I wasn't Asian enough. I wasn't thin enough, smart enough, good enough. Right? We all can relate to these enoughnesses that society puts on us. And through astrology, I've woven in these experiences and saw how this language of astrology applies to how we present ourselves in the world when everything in society is telling us to conform. So today, I tell you this because it is my mission to be a spiritual and strategic teacher, helping entrepreneurs and change makers like you turn your own identity wounds into wisdom to become the luminary leaders that you are born to be. So enough of that, because let's get to Lizzo and our solstice. I wanted to open up with this song Naked, especially since we are celebrating solstice today. The sun has moved into Cancer, and Cancer is about self acceptance, belonging, inclusion, sensitivity. It's about our own inner selves and our privacy. And so, what I wanted to kind of put together here, I highlighted a lyric from Naked: let down my guard, undo my robe. I'm standing here, don't need no clothes. And so Lizzo said that she wanted to write this song about how comfortable I become with myself. But then I evolved as a person. And as I've evolved, Naked has undergone a lot of rewriting. It has evolved with me. So now it's like, how accepting are you of me? It's very intimate. Okay. So this song, she's talking to a lover and she's presenting herself as naked. And if you don't know Lizzo, Lizzo is a full bodied person. She is absolutely beautiful. And society would say Lizzo isn't beautiful. Society would say she's too fat, she's too brown, she's too this, she's too that. And so, on her own self love and self acceptance journey, she's writing this song from the perspective of her lover. But this is, to me, really a song about herself, how she's come to accept herself. And so, I wanted to start off with this. So, I wanted to talk about this acceptance reflections because we're opening it with Cancer. And Cancer is more than the home, it's more than the family, but it's finding home in ourselves. It's validating all of the bits and pieces of ourselves in wholeness, similar to Virgo. Okay. So in self acceptance, we look back and we reflect on the last 12 months because it's solstice, it's the mid year. We look back on the last 12 months and we look back on the last 6 months. And in this wholeness, there's no judgment, right? We can look at what is one thing that I've changed since last year? Or what is one thing that I haven't yet changed? Of all of these questions, the one that moves me the most is the best thing I love about myself. And on the other hand, one thing I would still like to change about myself. So, could we just sit here for just a minute and honor solstice and reflect on what is that one thing that you love about yourself? Nothing too small. There is nothing that's too frivolous or nothing too grand. What is one thing that you love about yourself? And what is one thing that you would like to change about yourself? The reason why this is so important in terms of like this self-acceptance is that if we cannot find one thing that we love about ourselves, how the heck are we going to go out in the world and tell people that we have anything to offer, that we are worthy? So, one thing that I love about myself, and this has changed a lot for me, is that I love that I am not perfect, that I am totally scattered. And I love that thanks to my Gemini rising. I used to fight with my Gemini rising so much. But one thing that I would still like to change about myself is I would like to stop overcommitting and overdoing things. I overcommit and I overdo because I'm still not yet on that self-worthiness journey. I overcommit and overdo because I'm still trying to prove that I'm worthy. I think when we can really be public and talk about the things that still hurt us and still change us, this really makes us so much more vulnerable, yet so much more powerful. So what is confidence? The reason why I talk about confidence is if Cancer is about us coming to terms and validating ourself, then Leo takes it from Cancer and shines so brightly, exudes in its confidence. What does confidence mean to you? But I really urge you to find what is confidence to you. And I want you to write that down because we're going to be coming back to that, the self acceptance and the self love of confidence. Ooh, Arletta says the full acceptance of myself. So, confidence, the self acceptance and the self love are one and the same. Lynn says confidence is not needing validation from others. Miracle. I've been struggling with that definition my whole life. I fluctuate between humility and cockiness. So I'm working on discovering that beautiful middle, right? Well, Miracle, if I may say, right, this idea of humility and cockiness, where did that story come from? Isn't that a story from society? From maybe like some religious upbringing that we can't have pride in who we are? And so this is really beautiful to bring up, right? Like, where is that struggle? Where does that critique come from? Because we can start to say, like, hey, is this my story? Is this my belief? Or did this come from someplace else? So thank you for sharing that. Okay. So put that in your heart. Plant that in your heart and recognize when you are emanating that. And I'll come back to this because if you haven't yet found your place of confidence, we'll tap into a little bit of your own astrology in just a little bit. Okay, so today let's get into the Lizzo because this song Special by Lizzo. This video is really, really beautiful. If you have a chance, and I'll put it in the replay for the official video, I want you to go watch this video. And in this song Special, basically Lizzo is reminding all of us that we are special, to stop listening to the haters, right? And to be one of a kind. The lyric that I pulled out is, could you imagine a world where everybody's the same? Wouldn't that be so freaking boring? Right? But society, leadership, all of the oppression wants us to all be the same. Why? And so in this video, if you get a chance, this can be like a little bit of play work at the end. This video, Lizzo shows up as this superhero. The video, I was brought to tears. I had no idea. I listened to this song so many times, and I just watched this video last week. But she's a superhero, and she basically is rescuing what is like this little girl from like bullies. And I felt so connected, right? Because if you've ever felt othered or bullied, you know how small that makes you feel. And so we have to then now come over that. And this song Special is your anthem to finding what makes you so unique and forgetting what all of the bullies have told us, right? Finding your own sense of belonging. So Lizzo. Now, Lizzo was born Melissa Vivian Jefferson. She was born in Detroit, Michigan on April 27th, 1988. She's now 35 years old, so young. Now, we don't have an exact birth time for Lizzo that she's made public. However, if you go to Astro Wiki, and it's one of like a place that I love to go for decent astro data there. I forget who rectified her chart, but I took a look at their references, and they seem like a really really good source. With this chart, this rectified time where this person reverse engineered that Lizzo was born in the afternoon at 2:30, makes Lizzo a late Leo rising. Leo ruled by the sun up here in her ninth house, Sun conjunct Jupiter, Sun conjunct Mercury in the ninth house. And I feel like this just tells us so much already about Lizzo, right? We know that Taurus rules the throat chakra. It rules the sound of our voice, the actual physicality and the sensuality of our voice. It rules embodiment. It rules prosperity. It rules groundedness. It rules tenacity and commitment and loyalty and go, 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 go. When we look at our own natal charts, you all should know your sun sign based on the time that you were born. Your sun sign, when I'm looking at it from a leadership and a change making perspective, your sun sign is your source. It is what you do that nobody else in the world can do. It is your superpower. So in I think it was last winter solstice when I did the Radiate Masterclass, and I'll put the link in the replay to that Radiate Masterclass. If you don't know yet your sun sign and how to take apart your sun sign to talk about what makes you so special, what makes you so unique and different in what you do, then I want you to go back to that Radiate Masterclass. It's free. It's on my website. It talks all about your sun. We know that the sun for Lizzo conjunct Jupiter means that whatever her superpower, it's big. Jupiter expands. Whatever her superpower, we know with Mercury so close to her sun, she's here to express and communicate using her body, using her voice, her rich voice. And this is superstar status. Right? Our natal charts are divided into 12 pieces called houses. You probably already know that. And in this respect, these 12 pieces of pie, each of these houses represent an area of our life and of our work. Lizzo's sun is in the ninth house of reaching global audiences, the ninth house of belief, of purpose, of vision, of philosophy. If Lizzo wasn't a superstar, Lizzo would be like a spiritual leader. And really, through her songs and through her actions and through her advocacy, when you listen carefully, she's always talking about why she does things, what she believes in, what she advocates in terms of social justice. All of these have to do with her ninth house superpowers. Okay. Now, her moon in Virgo, second house, our moon in our natal chart represents what we need to accept about ourselves, what we need to bring healing and awareness to, and also what we need to feel successful. Because success, right, isn't this place outside of us that we are reaching for? Success is a state of being. So for those of us who were still confused about confidence and what we need to feel confident, one place that you can look to is your moon. Because if your moon is out of alignment, if you're not feeling emotionally secure, right? That's our moon sign, our emotional security. If we're not feeling emotionally secure, then we start making decisions based out of fear. So how does Lizzo need to feel in order to feel confident? Virgo. She needs to feel Virgo. She needs to feel whole. She needs to feel like there's a practice. She needs to feel like there is this kind of imperfection, right? I am whole even though I am imperfect. And then Leo. Leo is her rising sign. These are our big three: sun, moon, rising. The sun and the moon, they work together in perfect harmony, this engine of confidence, acceptance, security, shining brightly. And then rising sign is how we present ourselves in this world, how we initiate, how we lead. It's one of our visual identity keys. It's also the first key to our creative process. So when I think of Lizzo, I think of that superstardom of that Leo energy, right? How she shows up as creative and bold and flamboyant and dramatic. Right? So for all of us with our rising sign, I want you to hone into how you need to start leading and guiding. I want you to feel into your moon to nourish what it needs for emotional security. And I really want you to radiate your sun sign, what it is that you are here to do. Lizzo here and now. So what this chart is now is like there's Lizzo in the middle and all of the planets that are here and now that are impacting her natal chart. Lizzo came onto the scene probably back in 2016, if you're an early adopter of Lizzo, and she really came to fame in 2019. And fast forward 4 years, we can see that Lizzo is at the height, probably one of the biggest highs of her career. Will she go higher? More than likely. But you can see that Jupiter, the planet of expansion, she is experiencing a Jupiter return right now. When Jupiter returns to the spot in your natal chart. Generally, this is a time of big expansiveness. It could result in just kind of the accolades and the notice that Lizzo is getting more often than not. It's just like an understanding and expansive of your spiritual philosophy. And then Lizzo is also experiencing Uranus almost at her midheaven shakeups. What more is Lizzo going to break through in the next year? It feels super, super exciting to me. So as we talk more about Lizzo, I just kind of want to highlight some of the things that are going to speak to her creative process. Okay, because I'm going to be focusing in on, well, we all know that, well, maybe we don't all know, Lizzo has a brand, a brand of products. With Taurus at the midheaven of her chart, what she's supposed to deliver on, of course, she has products. And what speaks to Lizzo's values, except shapewear. Lizzo says that Yitty is already so much more than just shapewear reinvented. It's a brand based on the principles of self-love, radical inner confidence, and effortless everyday wear. With sizes from 6X to extra small, we are truly designing and representing every single body, and it's about damn time. So what I want you to notice in here, when she wrote this, this is on her, the Yitty website. And she talks about the principles of self-love, radical inner confidence, and effortless everyday wear. To me, that self-love and that radical confidence, of course, that's Leo talking. And then notice her moon, effortless everyday wear. When Virgo is about every day, our daily practices, and how can we make it more easy instead of like hyper vigilant. Like, Virgo can be like super demanding and super hypercritical, but she's turning that around into the highest, effortless everyday wear. So Leo, Virgo, I just kind of want to bring your attention to that. Now, the most important, has anybody here watched Watch Out for the Big Girls? So Watch Out for the Big Girls is basically a reality show, but it's not this hateful, demeaning, exclusionary types of reality shows like America's Top Model or things like that. What Lizzo is doing in 8 episodes is she is doing auditions for her backup dancers. She wants her backup dancers to represent her. She wants them to have that star power. She wants them to be full, big bodied people because she wants to just like buck conventions about what a dancer is supposed to look like. And so I love watching Watch Out for the Big Girls. And I've watched it 2 times already just to kind of pull apart. And the first time I enjoyed it, and the second time I analyzed it, because through these 8 episodes where she's like sharing all of her love and her belief, she's actually talking about her inner journey. And this is what fascinates me. I love hearing people's origin stories, their inner journeys, and how they have come to be. And more importantly, because Lizzo is so epic and so legendary, and she has such excellence to be able to get her where she is, I want to know what makes her tick. I want to know what is her creative process that makes her uniquely you. And of course, I'm putting it back to her natal chart so that I can connect the dots and then help share it with you all. And so right at the beginning in her first episode, Lizzo says, I am looking for clean lines, star quality, full out effortless, being in the body, release and let go, and performing under pressure. Whew. And so as we I'm going to kind of outline what happened for Lizzo in the 8 episodes so that we can start connecting this dots to her creative process so that you can then connect the dots to your own creative process that will really harness your own star powers. So let's take a look. Okay, coming back to Lizzo's astrology. I'm going to be explaining this over and over again. So if you get a little bit lost, don't worry. Hopefully I'll be able to explain it in the time that we have together. So in the way that I look at astrology, we talked about her sun, her moon, and her rising. And what I didn't add in here is that her rising is opposite her descendant. This is one thing that you're going to want to remember. Your descendant, your 7th house cusp for Lizzo, Aquarius, these are her people. These are the people that she is here to serve and commit to. Aquarius, the change maker, the underdog, the othered, right? Why do we feel that Lizzo is like always talking to the underdog and making sure that everybody feels included and like they belong? Because that Aquarius is so different. It sometimes feels really hard to find that place of belonging. So when you know your position, your sun sign, what you're here to do, your moon sign, what you need to feed to feel emotionally secure, your rising sign, how you need to lead, and your descendant, who you're here to serve, this positions your business in a way that is going to stabilize you and point you in your right direction. Okay, this is a class that I teach in depth called Star Powered Position, and it's the foundation for really getting clear on what you do, how you do it, and who you do it for, very clearly and succinctly as you are designed. So remember, Lizzo's superpower to be an amazing embodied vocalist. Virgo, she needs her wholeness in order to feel confident. And Leo, she leads like a Leo, heart-led, confident, bold, and creative. Now, this Leo process, this rising sign, informs our first step of our creative process. So if you look at your natal chart, this is where we start to get into a little bit of the nitty gritty. So I apologize if you are new to astrology, but hopefully you can catch on. Your rising sign, your 2nd house cusp, which is the sign at the end of that 2nd house spoke, and your 3rd house cusp, the sign at the end of your 3rd house. These signs 1, 2, 3. Now you might have duplicates. You might be missing one. It might not be in order. Lizzo's happens to be Leo on the rising, Virgo on the 2nd house, Libra on the 3rd house. In astrology, we call this bottom quadrant the quadrant of self. It's where we understand our self-awareness. And these energies are very, very intimate to you. This informs your creative process because likely with awareness and conscientiousness, you are already working through these archetypal energies every time you're making a decision, every time you're creating, every time you're setting out and being tenacious, working through these. So I want to explore how Lizzo is using her Leo, her Virgo, and her Libra. So in these slides, I've just kind of put some of the things that really spoke to me in each of these episodes. Remember that we're looking at her episodes, even if you haven't watched them, because to me, as she goes through these episodes, she's really laying out her creative process and her own journey. Throughout the 8 episodes, she is inviting all of these dancers to audition, kind of like in a reality style. But throughout this all, she's taking them on a self-love journey. In episode 1, she's saying, I'm looking for those clean lines, that star quality, full out effortless. She's telling us what she wants. And in episode 2, basically, she is leaving it up to them, right? Who is confident enough to be here and show up and do the work. She says, it's important to me to put these girls in an environment where they can thrive, that is a safe space, that is chic and fly. So she puts them up in a mansion as they're doing this work together because she wants to take care of them. She wants them to make them feel so special about themselves and so safe. So she's cultivating their safety in this beautiful place. In episode 3, this is where the Leo starts to come out. Leo represents confidence, self-love, shining brightly, being bold, being visible. And she's talking about, let's show them how to love themselves. That's why you're all so important to the world. She realizes that as her backup dancers go on tour with her, they are being role models for people who haven't been able to see themselves as dancers. They're all being role models for those underdogs. She says, it's going to be so much to the world. Live in it, bask in it. We've been through the same shit. I'm happy and I love my body. They want us to hide and be sad. And so in episode 3 with the Leo, remember when we looked at her chart, her sun is in the 9th house, in the house of belief, of your big why. And she says, the why is really the key. Why we do the thing. Everything we do has to have heart behind it. It's going to be fun. It's going to look good. Why am I? It's in the heart. I learned early on that if I'm happy all the time, sometimes people don't believe my joy. So I show my pain too. If you don't see my tears, you're not going to respect my smile, my joy, my light. Whoever told you you can't dance, whoever told you you're not a bad bitch, even if it's yourself, tell them to shut the fuck up. Like, how Leo is this? Leo rising with the sun, the ruler, in the 9th house. Like, this just, it brings so much joy to just see how, like, symbolically Leo expresses herself through her chart. As we move into Virgo, into episode 4, in the middle of the in the middle of the season, and there's a season 2 coming, I'm super excited. We go into Virgo, and you know that Virgo is about wholeness, wellness, both the pain and the happiness. There's no such thing as perfection with Virgo. They want us to believe that there's something about perfection, but Virgo isn't about perfection. It's about wholeness, rest, play, love, sadness, pain, happiness, all of the whole thing. Lizzie says, this is why I resonate with her. My sun is in the 9th house and I have a stellium there, 3 planets. Same thing, Lizzie. I have sun Jupiter in the 9th house and I'm an Aquarius. So like, I feel like Lizzo is speaking directly to me. She's anything she asks me to do, I would do for her. so as she's trying to build up their body positivity, Leo, right? Leo Taurus. Body positivity is a new thing because self-hatred and body negativity was the norm. She says that often in her life, she's heard face good, body bad. Oh my gosh, I cannot tell you how many times I have heard that in my life as well, right? And so Lizzo says, I internalized and believe this because what people would tell me. I'm sick of these words. I'm sick of these memories, these people, this shit. Let's make a breakthrough, breaking through these negative words that I used to say to myself to take myself down. And now I want the same for all of you. Part of being a big girl is owning your beauty to help you get there. And so she takes them on this beautiful healing movement class, talking about healing. She's talking about healing over and over again, a healing movement class to get to your own inner beauty, raw and real. And she gets to, you're going to become who you're meant to be. Ah, it's so good. You'll just have to watch it if you haven't already. And then so in episodes in 5 and 6, she starts then to get into her Libra. Libra now is about connection, ruled by Venus, right? I forgot to say, Virgo is ruled by Mercury. And so Libra here, connection, sisterhood, harmony, beauty, relationships, diplomacy, peace. And so she wants to connect with the audience. She wants to have, she says, I need you to be a shining star in my universe. I want you to connect with the audience and look as good as my music sounds. Own your vibe on stage. Even when a group, I'm looking for confident sexuality. The dancers are being judged on choreo, stage presence, persona, ability to work as a group while still being an individual, camaraderie, and sisterhood of positivity to get along. Like, oh my gosh, like it's so beautiful how she's like absolutely speaking to that Libra. And episode 6, play hard, bond harder, right? There's Virgo Libra right there. I want to see you win sisterhood, making people feel things, real relationships on stage, and reminding us, right? Libra, Aries, the competition is always within yourself, connecting to the audience and the music. Okay, so I just wanted to kind of overview all of the things that Lizzo was saying in all of these episodes. And in 7 and 8, these are when the decisions are being created. But what I want you to focus on here is in episode 8, the integration, to bring joy and positivity to help people cope and get through things, where be the light in the world where we can be. Being an entertainer is not just performing, especially when you have a message like we do. It's about helping people feel better when they're going through hard times and reflecting on those times. She's such an inspiration to everybody who surrounds her. And so those quotes, I literally just pulled them from what she was saying in Watch Out for the Big Girls, because I just found it so thrilling to then connect the dots to her own creative process. And I want to remind you what she reminded me. You're a star, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. So let's get into what makes you so juicy. So let's get to your creative juice. So everybody, if you can, grab your natal charts, because this is where we're gonna do some work. So when you look at your natal chart, of course, it's a beautiful circle, and your rising sign and descendant create an axis that split the your rising sign, your natal chart into a top half and a bottom half, a northern hemisphere and a southern hemisphere. And then your midheaven and your Imam Coeli create a vertical line that then divide your chart in half again, from your eastern horizon and your western horizon. And then from the intersections of these two axes, we have our different quadrants. Each quadrant will contain 3 houses. And, you know, I use Placidus. I love Placidus. I love the wonkiness. This can likely work in whole house, but know that I'm working in Placidus if everybody wants to know. So we are going to be focusing in on the quadrant of self, which is your first house, your second house, and your third house. It is this process of the awareness of self where we find our creative juice, your creative process, and your creative style. So today we're going to be focusing on the quadrant of self. Your rising sign is so important. It represents different things depending on like, you know, when you go to like the eye doctor and they put all those different filters down, that rising sign, depending on the way you look at it, means so many different things. So I mentioned earlier that in our positioning, our rising sign is how we present, how we identify, and how we take lead. In this respect, as we're looking at it, we're going to be looking at it as our first step in our process. The first step in our process is so important. If you're kind of off of your morning routine, look to your rising sign. If you got the Scorpio rising, make sure you go poop in the morning, the very first thing. If you have a fire rising, taking a hot shower. If you got a Taurus rising or another, like, especially Taurus rising, eat a really good and big breakfast. Permission. So that first house, second house, and third house. So for me, my first house is Gemini, my second house is Cancer, and my third house is Leo. If you have a duplicate, right? Some Natalie said they had Cancer, Cancer. Susan said they had Leo, Leo. It just simply means that you have to find a couple of different expressions of that energy in your creative process, right? So if we come back to Lizzo's creative juice, Leo, Virgo, Libra. So I named her creative process the self-love journey, right? If we think about everything that Lizzo is doing, it comes back to her journey of self-love and self-confidence, right? So to me, Leo is confidence, self-love, shining brightly. Virgo, wholeness, wellness, pain and happiness. Libra, connection, sisterhood, and house and harmony. So the first thing that I want you to do, what is your rising sign, the first house cusp? What is your second house sign? And what is your third house sign? So we've done that. And remembering that your sun's superpower, we're all feeding your creative process into your sun's superpower. Again, just a reminder, if you want to dive into your own sun's superpower, I have a free masterclass called Radiate that is available to you to dive into just that sun superpower. I want you to feel into this now. This is where it's going to take a little bit of stretch. I'm not going to be able to answer this for all of you. This is going to be, to feel into it is to reflect on how these energies, your first house, your second house, and your third house archetypes, those zodiac signs, are showing up in how you do things. So I want you to interpret, I want you to imagine, and I want you to bring awareness, because this isn't something that's outside of you. This is something that's already baked in you. You are already doing that. You'll notice that I have this little, that get curious. That's my Gemini rising. I've baked in my own creative process into how I'm teaching this for you, how I'm sharing this and teaching it for you. Okay. So getting curious is like, what are all these elements that we need to bring in? All of these ingredients. And then feel into it that Cancer, for me, second house cusp, right? So I wonder, let's do a second house cusp for people. I think people know their rising sign, but their second house cusp is a little bit different. So everybody, I want you to put together also your third house energy. What does that feel like for you? Can you see how it's actually showing up? So for the people who have that Sagittarius second house, for that wildness, how is that actually showing up in your creative process, in your work, and how you approach things? So what we're doing right now is we're looking at the first house, the second house, and the third house cusp. And we're looking at just those archetypes, those 1, 2, 3, and we're trying to interpret and feel into how that energy is already showing up in what we do. So again, for Lizzo, it would be Leo, Virgo, Libra. And so we ran through the example of just her creative process in Watch Out for the Big Girls, how Leo, she wants everybody to shine and be a superstar. And in Virgo, she wants people to go on their own healing journeys and face both the pain and the happiness of being a whole person. And the third house, she wants to connect to her audience. She wants to build relationships and sisterhood with all of the people in her dance team and in her team, right? So this is what we're doing in terms of like, how is that actually working in your own life, your 1, 2, and 3? And then the third thing that I want you to do is we're just building on top of these first house, second house, and third house. Now, you might not be able to do this here and now, is to confidently express this. Okay, so I want you to get creative and distill everything that you learned about your creative process from each of those 3 archetypes and create a 2 or 3 word call to action based on your reflections for each step of this creative process. So for example, for Lizzo with her Leo on the first house, right? I made an anthem for her, a call to action, love yourself. For me, with Gemini on that first house, I put get curious. Then for Lizzo, she has Virgo on that second house. So I assigned her a call to action. And it just said, be whole. For me, I have Cancer on the second house. So it's feel into it. And then the third house, She has Libra. So I just put one word, even connect. For me, I have Leo, confidently express. Okay. So a name says Capricorn, leader, belonging, intuition. I love that. Leadership, or I would even say a name for leadership. It can be leadership, but it also can be something like commitment. Like I'm committing to showing up and being a leader. If you're struggling with that, confidence again is tapping into the needs of your moon, right? Our moon is our emotional gatekeeper to anything that we're going to be doing. So if you need help with your confidence, tap into your moon sign. When we come back to Lizzo's creative process, love yourself, be whole, connect. Does that sound like Lizzo to me? Like, it sounds like Lizzo to me. I love, love, love that. And Ishel says their creative process for Aries, Taurus, and Gemini is inspired regenerative synthesis. So I love what Ishel did. They took it to that even next level. And then that bonus has a name come through for your integrated process. Like I named Lizzo's self-love journey and Ishel's inspired regenerative synthesis. I haven't named mine yet, so you guys are all like one ahead of me. And so again, mine, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, get curious, feel into it, confidently express. And so you can see that in this method of the Astro Brand method, how do we show up in our leadership to bring awareness, validate who we really are, but also leave our mark? We're going to be giving you a worksheet that's going to have some of these, but we put together just some examples of the 12 archetypes and some keywords that really speak to me. And so if you've been finding a little bit of struggle finding those words that work with you, I'll have these 12 archetypes, these suggestions, along with the steps and the download for that replay. So this masterclass has been called About Damn Time. And the lyric that I pulled out, in a minute, I'm gonna need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up. Feeling fussy, walking in a mall. I am not a singer. Balenciaga is trying to bring out the fabulous. Okay. I feel I want to be that person that pumps you up, right? Like I see your highest possibility. I absolutely just like knowing you from your natal chart, and I want to invite you in. I want to invite you in if you want to explore star powered style, because this creative process is just the teeniest, tiniest portion of what we'll be exploring in September. And why do I say September? Is because I have a community called Star Powered Circle, leadership, community, and astrology, where we open up the doors every quarter. And in quarter three, that starts in July, so July, August, and September, in September, we'll be doing Star Powered Style, which will be a 4-week intensive to open up your astrology keys that amplifies your visual and creative style. We'll be putting together the keys that need to be amplified for your visual identity. We'll be even distilling more this creative style and process that we started beginning today. We'll put together your signature method and put together parts of your intellectual property in your brand. If you have to leave, I totally understand. And thank you for joining me. Ishel says that they've been waiting for Star Powered Style all year. I'm so glad that this has given you so much to think about, and just open up the doors, right? Because ultimately, astrology is an onion that we have to peel back the layers upon layers upon layers. And so I'm glad that I've been able to connect the dots so that you can start to take it to that next level. But coming back to Star Powered Circle, if you're interested in Star Powered Style, know that you get an entire astrology library when you come into the circle this year. At this quarter, there's 50 members currently in Star Powered Circle. It's an amazing, beautiful community of spiritual entrepreneurs and leaders and change makers who love astrology. And so the astrology library itself is so full. There's no way that in 3 months, one person can go through all of this content. it's absolutely too much to go through all of this content. So if you come through it for just the month, the quarter, I'll give you some insight as to which are the elements that I really want you to hone into. But the four intensive: star powered position, star powered voice, star powered style. These intensives are part of the methodology that I share with you my entire way of reading a natal chart. And I think that they're super powerful in terms of like showing up as your most aligned leader. And not only do you have the library, we have our monthly meetups. We have new moon intentions every month where we come in and do our ceremonies. Every month we have star hours, a Q&A where you can get your chart read and get answers to your questions. It's kind of like a hot seat. We last anywhere from like 2 to 3 hours. I mean, we just love astrology so much that we're just on there for so long talking about astrology. And then of course we have different master classes and surprises. So in this last surprise, we had a challenge from Stuck to Unstoppable challenge that helped us move some mountains in our business. And in July, we'll also be having Star Powered Summer, where there's going to be a lot of guest teachers. So it's super, super, super fun to come in for just the monthly meetups. And then, of course, I'm only doing one-on-one readings for folks in the circle. And so if you've been wanting to get a one-on-one reading with me because it got so busy, I'm just focusing it on the circle. So if you wanted access to one-on-one with me, this would be your access point if you are in the circle. So if you are interested in joining us, I would love to invite you in. Doors open today. So it is $666 for 3 months, or $222 a month. I have done my best to make this as accessible and affordable as possible. Just knowing that the astrology library itself, if you were going to take individual classes, is worth more than $4,000 just for the astrology library. So to me, this is all about the community and coming together to support each other and sharing this new language of astrology through the Astro Brand method. So if you're interested, I would love to have you join us. Of course, we'll be focusing in on star powered style for this quarter. So my friends, ta-da, official end. Thank you for bearing with me with this new piece of content that I really wanted to share. I hope that you are able to take into your creative process and start refining that and using it and attuning into it, because that is you. That is indefinitely what is your creative juice that makes you so special. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to this replay of the masterclass. We had so much fun. And, after we edited down the masterclass to just about an hour, but as per usual with my lives and my webinars and just the star hours that we have in Star Powered Circle, sometimes these classes can go 2 or 3 hours long with just the conversation around astrology and going down that rabbit hole of inquiry and insight. It's just so much fun. I know my people, when they love their stars, they just like me, just can't get enough. So if this is for you and you're like, yes, I totally want to join in, remember that Star Powered Circle is open for quarter 3, where we'll be focusing in on our star powered style. You get this 4-week intensive that happens in September, but you also get a full flush astrology library. Now, there's no way to take in everything in that library in just 3 months. So if you have a certain inquiry or a certain love or a certain passion, I can definitely help you curate that one-of-a-kind pathway and finding the things that you like in this overabundant astrology library, taking astrology and applying it into your leadership and your change making. Of course, the community is amazing. There's about 50 people right now in Star Powered Circle, everything from change makers and nonprofit leaders to coaches and authors and entrepreneurs. It's an amazing community of powerful people tapping into their own star powers. So if this is for you, please join us. And remember, your creative juice is not what you do, but how you do it. All right, my friends, I will talk to you soon, and please join in Star Powered Circle if this calls to you. As a human design projector, my energy shines more brightly because of people like you who share my work. If you enjoy this podcast and want to help build a movement of innovative astrology and leadership and spark the intuitive revolution, please rate and review this podcast on Apple Podcasts, or better yet, share this podcast with your change-making besties. We will all shine brighter together as we create the future we want to see.